Hi, I'm Nicole Rose Gelormino. I'm a teaching artist. Who doesn't love to collage? The word collage comes from the Latin word collare, which means to paste. Paste is another way of saying glue. What materials am I using? Usually, collage is made using found papers, glue, a spreader or a glue brush, and sometimes scissors. You can make a lot of interesting shapes just by tearing. Have you ever collaged before? What do you enjoy about collaging? Why do people like this process so much? One reason why is because you can use images that already exist. You don't have to create every line, shape, color, and texture from scratch. Collage is also very easy to do, and you can do it at different levels of difficulty or complexity. Some collages are very easy to make. This collage I made of a dissected tongue is actually a silhouette. I drew onto a white piece of paper, simply cut it out, and glued it onto this cream-colored mat board scrap. This is a photograph. I had some extra paint lying around that I didn't want to waste, so I spread the paint on a piece of cardboard, let it dry, and then I cut a unique shape out of the cardboard which had been painted on, and then I simply placed it on the ground without glue. It's not a permanent collage. And then I snapped a photo of it, and then I printed it onto photo paper. This is a collage that my 2.5-year-old daughter made. Some collages are very complex and difficult to make. Before I begin a collage, I don't always know what I'm going to make. I spend plenty of time collecting images and materials that fascinate me or resonate for some reason. I don't always know why I like them. Then I spread them out, group them together, arrange them, rearrange them, cut out unique shapes, and begin piecing them together like the mysterious puzzle that a collage always is. The other reason people love collage is that you can arrange the shapes, the colors, the images in a million different ways. That means you can place them in different positions. You can overlap them. Overlapping means stacking them one on top of the other. You can also place them edge to edge. You can spread them out on the page. There's a million different ways to arrange all the shapes on the page and put them together. Today, we'll assemble our own collage kit made from these materials. We'll even make our own glue. Collecting your papers, materials, and other objects to collage is possibly one of the most enjoyable and exciting and surprising aspects of the collage process. Magazine pages, newspaper images. I like to save old calendars, promotional postcards, and greeting cards. Nature objects, as long as they're flat, even fake nature objects. Color chips can be acquired from the hardware store. Business cards, also brochures, food packaging, Letters and notes are fascinating items because of the handwriting can be a visual element, and also sometimes the text itself can be cut and arranged in unexpected ways. Photographs of all kinds, string, yarn, fabric. One of my favorites is old artworks and doodles, stickers, gift wrap. You might find yourself collecting movie tickets, receipts, tickets from a museum. This is actually a seed packet. Any kinds of playing cards from decks that aren't being used anymore are great for cutting up. This is a textured plastic that came from the bottom of a sushi tray. I put a piece of paper over this plastic tray, rubbed a crayon over it, and was able to get the texture onto the paper. Here's another rubbing. These are simply stickers, but they're kind of puffy. They're puffy stickers. So because they're raised, I put another piece of paper over it, which already had been painted on, and I rubbed some crayons so that the letters showed up on the page. These texture rubbings are all great for doing collage work, but texture rubbing might also be a lesson for another day. Let's make some glue. The best glues are plain white glue, Mod Podge, and acrylic matte medium. If you don't have any of those, there are plenty of great homemade glue recipes on the web. Today, we'll make one that does not require any cooking. Here's what you'll need. 4 tablespoons of flour, 2 tablespoons of water, a jar or container, be sure to label it, and a stirring utensil. 1, 2 tablespoons of water. Now stir. If the glue is too thick, just add a little water. When your glue is the consistency of pancake batter, begin using it right away or close it and store it in the refrigerator for a few days. No matter what kind of glue you use, you need to have an applicator. An applicator applies the glue to the back of the pieces you are collaging onto, the base or the surface or the background. I do not recommend pouring the glue directly out of the bottle. That results in pieces that, when glued down, end up drying wrinkly, which you'll see in a moment as it dries. And also, the edges don't get dried down, so the pieces can come off on their own really easily, leaving your artwork to fall apart. These 3 applicators on the left are all great options. This is a foam brush. You can get it at an art store, or you can get it at a hardware store, or sometimes if you're lucky, you can find them at the dollar store or Target. What I love about the foam brush is that it creates a nice, smooth, even layer of glue. And if you glue all the way to the edges and smooth that piece down, it's completely flat and secure. Another favorite is just a plain flat paintbrush. Notice I said flat. This is a round paintbrush. As I turn it, you'll notice that this metal part called the ferrule, it's completely rounded and smooth all the way around. The brush looks like a cat's tail. This is not the kind of brush you want to use for gluing. It's going to create streaks or clumps. This flat paintbrush is going to create some nice, smooth, thin layers of glue. I always start from the middle of the piece and work my way to the edges. You just want to make sure the brush has a short handle, that it's small enough, and that the bristles are nice and flat and stiffish. If you can't get a foam brush or a paintbrush, another incredibly awesome option is just to cut down a piece of cardboard into a strip. You can use this corrugated cardboard. Corrugated means it has this pattern on the side of it. This is like what you would find from like a box of something that's been shipped to your house. Or you can also use a piece of postcard or just cardstock. The other nice thing about using bits of cardboard and cardstock is that you don't have to wash them. You can use both sides, and after they get kind of funky and too gluey, you simply throw them away. If you're using homemade glue, you can even put these in the compost. Finally, here are some tips for a successful collage artwork and experience. If you're using magazines, find the page that you are interested in using and press open the magazine on the binding and tear the whole page out. I'm not going to use all this text, but it's a lot easier to work with this image when the whole page is removed. Lots of people begin by cutting out just the image along its edges, and that's fine. But that's only one way to cut out the image. I can cut out whatever shapes I want out of this image. When I cut out my unique shape, I'm cutting straight with the scissors. I'm not curving my wrist around. The way that I'm able to change the direction of the cut is by turning the paper. Not the scissors. There's a million different ways to cut a unique shape. Number 2, play with the arrangement. How many different ways can you arrange the pieces that you've selected? Once you have the arrangement that you like, the third tip is to glue from back to front or from bottom to top. What that means is that you're going to need to glue the piece that is on the very bottom. That way you don't end up gluing them in the incorrect order. Tip 4 is to use a scrap magazine page as a place to do your gluing. You just tear an extra magazine page that you're not going to be using. You turn your piece over on top of that magazine page. And you put the glue in the middle of the shape you're gluing, and you spread it out to the edges. And a nice, even coat. And by using this scrap magazine page, I'm able to get the glue all the way to the edges of the shape, even past the edges, without getting glue all over my work surface. Now I can pick up this piece. Be sure to smooth your piece down too with your fingers. Now it's time to hang your artwork, step back, and admire it. This video was made in partnership between myself, Nicole Rose Gelormino, and Arts Ed Matters. You can learn more at sfteachingartist.wordpress.com and artsedmatters.org.